Starting off here at Quatre, Wellington's Ride yielded 2 command points, 1 British Brigade and 1 Brunswick Brigade. His aide flew way over here to that 3rd Division Brigade. Going to try to get them fighting across that stream. Now the French used one of their command points on the 6th Division, that 1 brigade there to the west. The other one remains out of command, so they won't be moving. 2nd Corps is also activated with 1 of the command points. And the light cavalry did gain initiative, so they will be able to move this turn. Unfortunately, they're so far back, they won't be able to charge, I don't think, or do anything useful. But at least they'll be able to move up, get in position. At Ligny, we can continue to see the same command expenditures time after time here as this fight rages in this corner. So the 3rd Corps and the 4th Corps will both be activated and given a maneuver unit. Also the 7th Division. 2 guard formations will take a couple of command points just to move them around a bit, get them positioned. Doesn't really matter much, but got light cavalry initiative out here, so that gives the French possibly something to work with, but really it adds to the draw cup and increases their chance for gaining initiative. For the Prussians, they've got the 1st Corps activated, so they're going to get a maneuver unit. The 2nd Corps, that, the 7th Brigade, is going to be given 1 so they can move up and start getting into the mix here. And then the 5th Brigade is going to move forward here as well, up onto the right of the 1st Corps. So I don't know if I'm going to keep my 2nd Corps together or sort of feed them in piecemeal. Obviously keeping them together is the way to go if I want to keep them activated, but that might come later. I assume the 1st Corps is going to collapse at some point. And that's going to be the command allocations and maneuver units for this turn. Let's get started drawing some chits. As usual, the draw cup is full. Let's pick the first one. And no surprise, it's the French. Now, this is the 3rd double turn the French will have had, since they moved 2nd in the last turn. Now they're moving 1st in this turn. That means they'll be able to move twice without the Allies being able to respond. We start with the charge phase, of course. I'm thinking I might try a really ridiculous charge here. I might try to throw this light cavalry across the stream at maybe these 2 units. That would take them in a circuitous route, but it would also expose them to reaction charge by those dragoons. So I'm thinking I might throw one of these dragoon regiments up to occupy him, and then throw the rest of these regiments maybe here, here, and possibly here, depending on what I can get done. This is, of course, going to be a very careless use of my cavalry, but hey, it's a game. Going to have some fun here. So I think I'm going to start. Who am I going to charge first? I might charge this guy and try to hit him right there. It's going to be very close quarters. They're not going to have much of a chance for a line of sight. So I think I'll just... Yes, I like to move the charge marker. So when he gets to here, and now here, he has to declare his target, which will be that guy. And there's probably not a good reason to try to form square, so we'll just try to stand. Infantry is a 26 morale. We rolled a 41, so he is going to stand. And we'll go ahead and call that charge done until the melee phase. Now they have that little hole open. I'm going to throw these dragoons through. Now the objective here is to try to hit those guys. Now I think I can try a reaction charge. And that is basically a morale check. These guys have a 25. I'll throw the dice. And they pass, which means they're able to charge in response. I think they're allowed to reaction charge even though they're out of command. I don't think that matters for reaction. I'll do a quick rules check before I finish that off. Yes, I think that it's cool. No rule prohibition there. So the good thing for the Allies is that now they plug this little hole. The French don't have a good route through here anymore without potentially taking some fire. Or I guess more to the point, this is cultivated ground so they can't charge through it. So we're going to have to choose a different path for these guys. Thinking maybe across the creek here, and maybe to try to hit that artillery. One last gasp. So I think we'll give that a try here. So guns alone can't form square. So we'll just try to stay in our current order there. They're a 23 and the leader has a 2 modifier. They stand easily, so they'll wait for the ensuing melee phase to crush that cavalry regiment with some canister. I have one more. Kind of not quite sure where to throw this guy. Not sure I have any good targets. I'm already committed to this charge. I'm going to spread this cavalry division all over creation, so may as well finish it. Okay, I think I'm going to go after this battalion right here. This is a kind of a crazy charge. Spreading them out like this, they're going to be out of command and probably plus ground disorder at the same time, but I think he's well within range. Gets there in 13 movement points. Now none of these charges are going to be able to double their melee when the time comes. They'll be unable to make 3 straight hexes in a line. But maybe we can disrupt this guy. He's going to try to stand in his current order because he had no line of sight till he was right adjacent. He had a 26, which is not a bad morale. And he rolled a very nice number. Nice high number, so they will stand. And that'll conclude the movement portion of our melee phase here. I think those are the only cavalry I want to charge on both fields. So we'll proceed to melee, which begins with a defensive fire phase for the targets. So we'll be able to fire that infantry, that artillery, and that infantry right there. Our infantry fires are ineffective, no casualties, but those big guns and their canister got a 1 casualty on the cavalry. The the morale check, we rolled a 12, so that's a failure, meaning these guys will plus ground disorder and retreat. Those guns are tough. They have been hit numerous times in the last 2 hours and have survived every attempt. Those fellows will end plus ground disorder and tired. So I said I'd finish this charge scattered and plus ground disorder. I'm halfway there. So let's resolve our melees. We have this infantry attack there. The odds are 1.5 to 1. Rolled pretty poorly and end up with a blank. That's going to be a bounce for that cavalry and a morale check. morale dice are high enough for them to pass that check, but they're going to have to retreat right to there. Should get us far enough away. Taking an increment loss and also ending exhausted. So they will be now at 2 losses. Finish their charge exhausted. Not a good outcome. I will probably have a 1 to 2 attack here, since this is a much larger dragoon regiment. The dice are relatively kind. The result is a blank, so both sides will have to retreat, take an increment loss. I'll just get the Prussian dragoons out of here because this is an easy retreat. I think having charged, he is also moved. He's out of command, tired, and he's moved. Now the French have to retreat. A third of their movement. That's going to be 3. I don't have a good spot to retreat him. He can't go through here. He can go here. I think really the only thing he can do is he can go 2 hexes here, but he can't retreat his full 3. I'm not going to make this guy surrender. I'm gonna call it and say he gets the route to freedom. So 1, 2. He'll end here in this +1 disorder. I think I need to do a morale check on that guy. That definitely cost me. This, he rolled the snake eyes, so I'm going to judge him to have failed. He was routed through by that other cavalry and decided to make a run for it himself. Since he's exhausted, he should only move a third. I'll just move him out of frame there. That leaves him 1 more to resolve. Might be able to get a 1.5 to 1 out of this, not too sure. Do a quick calculation. It is 1.5 to 1. The Prussians have a 1 modifier, while the French have a 4. So we'll have a net +3 on the dice roll. The result is a casualty for each side and a morale check on the Prussians, which they pass. So the charge will end right there, each side taking 1 casualty, and the cavalry will be exhausted. Exhausted cavalry, and proud Landwehr for having stood up to those nasty French hussars. So I only routed 3 out of 4 of my cavalry. That was a crazy charge. Quatre, brought up the cavalry a little closer. Too bad they're so far away. I really didn't think I could get a good charge in. Over here, gaminess continues. Have the skirmishers across the line there in front of the brook. A little bit of the infantry backing them up. But hey, if I didn't want to be gamey, I should have protected the right of the Allies a little more effectively. Otherwise, the rest of the 6th Division did not move, but the Prince moved over to try to get them into command for the next turn. Here, the center of the crossroads, we pushed the 9th Division up just a little bit, prolong those guns up a little closer. Not going to help too much, but might get a better shot off over here. And finally, the 5th Division, now under new management, is going to close on the British line there and see if they can start to envelop them a little bit. Just get some fire on them at first, see if they can get some morale checks. Ligny, just more of the same. Had a couple of failures around this area in my roll to close, causing 2 to fall back here, 1 out of the 7th Division. But this is the farm, walled farm, and the gate is on this side. So I'm going to try to assault and blast that guy out of there this turn. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep fire going in on these formations. 1st Brigade is kind of breaking up here for the Prussians. Same here with the 3rd. Managed just 1 assault here. Otherwise, I'm just going to focus on trying to get fire on all these positions and hurt them that way, now that they're starting to take casualties. And finally, the 4th Corps did move. Not much. Basically, the 13th Division is going to try to continue to put fire on the remnants of the 2nd and 4th Brigade there. They're going to wish they hadn't when this artillery starts firing at them, but in the center, the 14th is not in a good position to attack. I wanted to hold the 12th maybe for another turn to see if get some more casualties and maybe some morale checks to retreat to these units here. Even though I had a maneuver unit here, I didn't move that cavalry. That was just a chit in the cup to help with the initiative. Now we can move on to our fire phases. Defensive fire Quatre, west of the crossroad, will have the fires here of the 3rd Division against those skirmishers. We have some Brunswick skirmishers here that can fire. The Nassauers have a shot. And the Hanoverians also can fire, including their artillery. Probably the best chance for casualties is here with the 3rd Brigade, so we'll just start rolling some dice. And not a single casualty across the entire line there. So we'll go ahead to the west side here and see what we can do there. Sorry, east side. That was the west side. Really, we have these positions here, and the skirmishers can fire on the French in line. No surprise that none of those rolls yielded any hits. Let's move on over to Ligny. So we do have shots all along this line. Not many good ones, but we'll throw the dice and see what we can get out of it. Pretty terrible dice rolls all along the line. We managed to inflict 1 casualty, but no morale checks, so it didn't really disrupt the French too much. We have a few more shots here we can take a little further to the east. We have the 29th Regiment here, and some Landwehr and the 19th right there that can do a little bit of shooting. Well, we did inflict a casualty and a morale check. We didn't get any disruptions or dislocations, so that'll do it for a defensive fire phase. We're going to turn around and have the French shoot back here at Ligny. So here on this side, French managed a casualty and a morale check, a failure. Those Landwehr don't stand very often, so they retreated back here. But the bigger is right here. This fire caused a casualty, but also a leader loss. Only a flesh wound, no, I'm sorry, a stun, so he's out for 3 turns only, an ADC. But the Landwehr are going to fail their morale check and retreat. And that's going to cause a potential cascade with that unit right there. So I take the casualty and retreat. Got to retreat 3 hexes. 1, 2, no real choice, 3. That's going to cause a morale check on that guy. He's at 50% losses, so that's going to be kind of tough. He just barely passes, rolled a 43, so he will not run for his life. So that's good for the Prussians right there. That could have been bad. Shifting around to this side, we then have basically the return fire all along the line here for the French. So I'll go ahead and throw those dice. Well, we inflicted a couple of casualties. We didn't get any morale checks, which is what we're always going in for. And that means we'll not disrupt the line too much over here, except maybe by these assaults that are going to come in the next phase. So Quatre will have the fires by the infantry here. Got a good flank shot right there. Then we have this artillery that can take a pretty close, almost point-blank shot right here at this infantry. Now, while the artillery did some damage and it caused a morale check and threw very low dice, these British troops are very stout and they stood their ground, led by their General Picton. The Hanoverians were not so stout here. They incurred a casualty, failed their morale check, and retreated back to here. The skirmishers out of command here are firing at the Nassauers, inflicted a casualty. I think that will be the final increment of that gigantic battalion. 9 increments all lost. Pretty rough. And these French skirmishers did some pretty terrible damage. Firing on these 3 battalions, they inflicted 2, 1, and 2 casualties respectively. And the British did pass their morale checks, but those are a lot of losses they can't really afford to take. They don't want to have to melee in such reduced strength, especially not across that stream. It's very good shooting for the French. That'll conclude our fire phases. We can move on to our melee phase. No melees at Quatre, but we have 2 here at Ligny. One is going to be against this Walls farm, coming in through the gate right there. That's this 1 battalion can assault. So he will do his best to get through that gate. Pre-melee morale checks are passed, and the French try to batter down that door. Not very good attack odds, 1-to-1, and they roll a blank. So it'll be a casualty and a morale check for each side. That'll be the 5th casualty for these Prussians, and the 3rd for the French. That'll put both of them at a 50% losses. Prussians in the building roll a very high number and pass easily. The French, however, roll very poorly, so they will disorder and retreat and lose that round of the melee. Well, the melee completely, but they lost that attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right to there. We have one more attack here. I think in order to try to preserve this disordered unit right here, I'm not going to retreat those skirmishers. They're going to take the brunt. So I'd rather lose them than this unit right under here. So they'll take their beating and see what happens. I thought for sure they'd fail their pre-melee morale check, but nope, they rolled a 65 and they stood. The French rolled very poorly, but due to the odds and their very good morale, they actually are going to pass, in spite of the fact that they're crossing the stream there. So with a melee of 5-to-1 odds, that's an easy win for the French. And the second and last increment of that skirmish unit will be destroyed, and we will advance the French. So that should do it for our melee phase. We'll just move on to our rally and route movement phase. The French had no poor order forces over at Quatre, no one to rally there, but they were able to rally pretty effectively here at Ligny. Everyone rallied. Let's see the units of the 7th Division over here. Some previously routed units that were falling back here. And that mess of cavalry that had such a poor charge, they were able to rally. Now they can't recover their readiness, but at least they recovered their morale. Without any route movement and no readiness recovery, that'll do it for the French chit draw.